The third Tuesday of the month also brings a visit from the creator of GrillGirl.com, Robyn Lindars is joining me. Hey, Robyn.
Hey, how are you, Greg?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am good, and I apologize in advance if I had been celebrating too much the last time I was on your show.
What are you talking about? I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Well, we had just bought like 20 acres, and we were like, woohoo, and drinking champagne, and I feel bad because
you had ice in your wine.
Yes.
I do remember, or champagne or whatever. I think I remember that. It's all coming back to me. So, have you done anything
Keeping
with
it classy?
Yeah, have you done anything with the 20 acres yet? Have you gotten the brush hog out or what?
Funny enough, I think there are hogs on there. There's hog tracks, and actually, we're going to camp on it this weekend. So
Really?
I hope I don't just get eaten alive by bugs and just also sweat my ass off. But my husband is totally determined that we should camp on it and just get to understand what's going on there. So that's what we're doing.
So could you literally live off the land there? I mean, with 20 acres, that's a substantial chunk of real estate. Take a couple firearms and shoot and eat, right?
I mean, yeah, and I think it's a good place to be if the zombie apocalypse comes, So you guys come find me if that does happen, and hopefully it doesn't. But, I am a Walking Dead fan, so I couldn't go without just happening to mention that.
Can I call you Steven Lindars since everybody else on the show is Steven tonight?
I don't know. I don't look
Stephanie?
like a Steve, do I?
How about Stephanie?
All right, if that works, I can be Stephanie.
Stephanie Lindars joining me here on the creator of GrillGirl.com. 13,000 Instagram followers almost as well. So congratulations on your social media push there. Good job.
I'm trying. You got to feed the feed. It's annoying, right? It's hard to keep up with sometimes, but you just got to do it. And I think because I just read this cookbook, I also just had a shitload of content that helps me because I can, it gives you a lot of stuff to post. There are days when you're not behind the grill, right? But you've got to figure out how to post. And I think a lot of it too is just engagement, and you get busy and you just got to be on there. So I want to be present, but then I know I need to work on my Instagram. So, we all are, right? The struggle is real.
That's right. May 7th, the book is coming out, by the way. It's Robyn Lindars' book on electric smokers. So let's talk quickly about a couple of your favorite recipes.
Yeah. So, and, I will say, obviously, the people in the barbecue community are like, oh, electric smoker, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? That's a gateway appliance for a lot of people that starts them down their path.
Are you,
right?
are you causing? I don't think that's really a thing. I have an electric smoker. I have a Cook Shack smoker. I mean,
you do?
Certainly
okay.
It's a little more top line. I'm not here to judge anybody. If you have a bullet smoker, if you have a piece of crap Brinkman charcoal smoker, if you have an electric smoker, offset, doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you have one and you're kind of getting into it. I mean, if you have a couple really bad experiences with a really crappy cooker, that might turn you off. But I mean, let's not cast dispersions or lead any type of stereotypes. I mean, if you have what you have and you like it, I mean, that's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, people get how they get in our world of barbecue. But the recipes can be used on any kind of cooker, right? If you like to add elements of smoke, then this is a good book for you because, I've been doing recipe development for a long time and I love doing recipe development and I'm always up for a challenge. So it was my goal to really infuse elements of smoke into just about everything. So there's a lot of unexpected things like smoked cocktails, a smoked old fashioned this is what I'm proud of. It's a smoked old fashioned, which I know you're more of a rye guy, right?
Yeah. Well, no, in an old fashioned, it's only bourbon for me.
Okay, but I'm saying you're more of a Sazerac guy, right?
In a Sazerac, it is rye. Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah. So, but some things I did that are cool that I think is just something fun, and people actually got really excited about this on Instagram is, make your own smoked water. And I did smoked water, and then you turn that into an ice cube, and then you infuse it with your favorite herbs or things like, zest of citrus. And those are the kind of things that you can add to a cocktail to add elements of smoky flavor, right? And you could even smoke the peels to make the zest for a cocktail. So I did things like that. Smoked pineapple upside down cake. I did a cold smoked chocolate. I call it a campfire s'mores cheesecake. And a lot of the recipes are have paleo and keto swap outs. I did my South Florida smoked fish dip, which has always been like it's called crack dip in my family, and it's I actually used to have a neighbor that supposedly he was a what they call in Florida, they call you a cracker if you're old school like Florida person.
Yeah.
And it refers to kind of the old cowboys in the state, and he was a Florida cracker. It has nothing to do with race. It's just a term. And he supposedly used to trade. His family used to have a smoking hut on the New River in Fort Lauderdale, and they used to trade smoked fish with the Indians. And basically, he used to bring us his smoked fish dip, and then I took his recipe and just like took it to the 10th degree, and it's crack dip. But just a lot of, and stuff like venison. I have a rosemary rubbed venison, quail, because I think also that demographic, people who like to hunt. You see a ton of electric smokers at like Cabela's and Bass Pro.
Totally.
So I didn't want to leave anyone out. So, but the whole premise is that it also is junk free, no weird ingredients. So, it's all about getting rid of the crap and getting back to the stuff that you should be eating, right? And not feeling guilty about. Did you like writing the book? I did. I had a lot of fun with it. I also had a lot of stress going on in my life because my cousin died of breast cancer, and she was like 32, and she has a kid the same age as Hunter, so it's Hunter's second cousin. Yeah. So it was really sad. And then my dog died too. So all around the same time. Yikes. So while I enjoyed it, at one time I was like, I should totally record this experience. And then when I looked at all my recordings, I was always crying in all of them. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be sharing this, but I think it was a good outlet while all that stuff was going on. And I did pour my heart and soul into it. So I think the recipes are pretty stellar. Did you self-publish something like a number of years ago when like right around that Kingsford Invitational type thing, or did that not end up happening? Yeah. So I did an ebook. Yeah. So you had like a base of writing underneath you, so it wasn't totally foreign. Exactly. And you know what was cool is I got Rick Brown. I don't know if you remember Rick Brown, PhD, Rick Brown. Yeah. He was my recipe tester. So what was cool is the publisher gave me someone to test all my recipes and give me feedback, which, I mean, it was 100 recipes too. I think you really need that because I was cranking a lot of stuff out. And I had a lot of recipes in my repertoire, but some of them were grilling focused. So then I took the flavor profiles and changed the methodology of cooking. But yeah, it was a fun experience. And John Solberg helped me with some things too, and because he's amazing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was on my bucket list. I've done it. It was a cool experience. I feel like I'm giving birth to a cookbook baby, but yeah, it's exciting to have under my belt. All right, so that's going to be released May 7th, so very shortly. It should arrive. Yeah. Pre-order now, so you can. What do you go to Amazon or go to your website and do all that? Go to Amazon, or you can click a link on my website, and I totally appreciate it because the Amazon gods seem to favor you more if you do well in pre-orders, because Amazon's like the next Google, right? So they're the Google of e-commerce, I guess. So all right. Yeah. So let's switch up gears here really quick. I want to get to the recap of Frostproof here in a second, but one of the other things, and this was such a great, quick recap, I think anybody that's in this subculture, we get thermometers. We get the importance of really good thermometers. Specifically, I'm talking about ThermoWorks and the ThermoPen and their other thermometer products. But it's important to every time and again check your thermometers for accuracy. Absolutely. And this ties back into my Frostproof story, but people just don't even realize, even just aside of the ThermoPens, and they're awesome, and I like a lot of their products, even outside of the ThermoPen. I like the ThermoPop. The Signals is awesome. Anyway, I could go on, but people, when you buy a grill off the shelf, a lot of people don't think that you also need to calibrate that thermometer. So it didn't even occur to me when I first bought my egg until like a couple of years ago, as I got more into grilling, and it was like 50 degrees off. 50? Right? 50. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And so think about that. If you're trying to learn how to cook and teach yourself new things, that 50 degrees can really screw you up, huge. Yeah. So, so you guys, whatever you learn from this segment, just test your thermometers, right? So, all you have to do is really get a glass of ice water and just let the ice really melt. So the water's at 32 degrees. and you want to test to make sure it's reading that, because if it's not, then you need to add or subtract based on what it is reading. And the dial ones you can calibrate yourself. So, but yeah, so Therma works as well. I've had when I was writing the cookbook, actually, I had a Thermapen that was way off and I didn't realize it. And it was my fault. I believe it wasn't theirs. It was a Thermapen that had been hanging out in my glamper, my she shed. And I'm sure it got annihilated in the Florida heat, but somehow that Thermapen ended up in the mix of my gazillion other ones. And I started using it. And then I started overcooking everything while I was doing my cookbook, which was really frustrating because, right, you're spending all this time. And then I realized that it was my Thermapen was off, and it was off substantially. And so you guys just don't take that stuff for granted. And, I would say ThermaWorks is really good about, they have a 2-year warranty, I believe, on their Thermapen. I looked it up today, and then I believe it's the probes that have a year warranty. Double check on their website. But even if you're past that 2-year, it doesn't hurt to call them if things are off, and they may at least take a look at it for you or give you the shipping to look at it and calibrate it for you. And I posted on my Instagram about how I thought my Thermapen was off and it was giving me false readings at this recent state competition. And they reached out to me on social and were like, send your Thermapen in and we'll take a look at it. So they're all about, I think they have great customer service. And of course, I've done a lot of marketing with them, or I work with them and do affiliate stuff on my blog. But yeah, so you guys, the moral of that story is just check it. Things seem off, they might be, and check your thermometer. You take it for granted, right? Like it's going to be perfect, but
yeah,
stuff doesn't stay perfect forever. Everybody needs a little tune up here and there.
Yeah, check yourself before you wreck yourself. In lieu of the ice water, you can go boiling water. That's 212 as well. So if you want to do that, you can certainly go that side on the hot side instead of the cold side. All right, so let's go ahead and quickly take a look back at Frostproof. So, a month and a half ago or whatever, you were down at the shed doing that State Cook-Off Association contest. That was the first one. That was well documented here on this show leading up to it and then after.
Yeah.
So what did you do this time around? I know there was 2 different teams, maybe 3 different teams. What was your process and how did you fare this time out?
Well, I did really shitty this time.
What?
And it was kind of, I'm just sorry. I'm just going to be myself. I know I curse too much, but the whole thing was it was fun. I had fun with my dad, but there was family drama going in. It's it could have been a damn state competition behind the scenes reality show,
Really?
because
you guys are getting into it?
Huh?
Were you guys getting into it? You getting chippy with each other?
Not me and Dad, but so, Dad and I came back so stoked from the one we did at the shed, and we're like, oh, cool, let's do one in Florida. Yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah.
And, there aren't a lot of things in South Florida, but this was in Central Florida, so we drove up. And, but in the process of getting excited to do this as a family, Scott, my husband, was going to do it. I tried to enter Hunter in, but technically he wasn't old enough,
right.
So I didn't do it. But so there started being tensions on the process of how we were going to do the steak. And so Scott, who's never done a competition before, and we've only done one, but we've obviously done a lot of research on what people are doing to win, was really being a hard ass about wanting to do it sous vide.
Right.
And I like sous vide. I think it produces a great steak, but there were also a lot of variables. They didn't even post till a week ago if we even had power and what that was going to be all about. So I didn't even know what to expect. I don't want to hang my hat on doing sous vide because I don't know if I have the Wi-Fi and I don't know where the electricity is going to come from. Sure. Right. So, until I get a little more under my belt, and then my dad didn't feel comfortable with doing it. So then he was like, I tell you what, let's just split up and do 2 different teams. It'll be you and Scott versus me and your mom, and we'll all be team grill girl. Well, and then I don't know, Scott got pissy and he was like, I want it to be just a golf game where I show up and play a game of golf, but I don't really want to take it that seriously. And I was like, well, I do want to take it seriously because this is my brand.
Whoa.
And
look out. We got trouble. We got trouble.
So then it turned into being me versus my dad, because then Scott couldn't go and he bailed on me. And then my mom got the flu a couple weeks ago and she didn't have any days off work to take off.
Oh.
So then Dad and I are like competing. Like we were in the same tent, but he's also done a lot more research than me. And now he's like besties with Johnny Joseph. Like they talk all the time. You know how my dad is. Like he's friends with everybody.
Yeah,
and so anyway, we had fun. He did the PK. I did my mini egg. And I think I just screwed a couple things up because I think I was trying to overcompensate because they look for medium, and it's hard for me to get to medium. Just a medium. I'm a medium rare girl, so I seem to just be like I can do a perfect medium rare or I overcook it. It's like that's like I don't know. And then I think also I think I wasn't comfortable with my rub going in, and Dad had his going like his idea already down, and I was still kind of like on the fence. And here's the thing: is everybody's using the white lightning now. Have you heard this?
Oh, the rub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like this is what I'm learning is that anyone that places uses that rub or something kind of like it with MSG in it. So, all this stuff is really going against my whole like fiber in the way I would normally cook a steak, because I would normally be like, no MSG. I'm not going to cook it to medium. And so I don't know. My game was off, but I had fun. My dad beat me. He was like 17th, and I'm not going to say what I was. I wasn't dead ass last. But and what was frustrating, Greg, is that also there was just some random stuff going on. Like there was this lady that pulled up next to us. She'd never done a competition before, which I mean, I only have one more than her.
Yeah. And
she comes and she gets a propane tabletop grill and sticks it on a table, and no grill grates, right? And I tasted her steak, and I ended up spitting it out because I thought it was gross. It had a weird flavor, and she ended up placing third. So I was like, "What the hell?" So, but I had fun. I think I have some things like competition steaks rather are looking for a certain set of things. Same as competition barbecue, and you can cook a great steak, but you have to figure out what they're looking for. And I don't want to do another competition until I take a class, and primarily a judging class, because I don't want to shoot in the dark not knowing what they're looking for. Because, when you do poorly, it totally, it like messes with your head a little bit. Yeah. It's like, you got to like, be like, Robyn, it's no big deal. Don't worry about it, but like it does mess with you a little bit. And I'm a perfectionist. It was kind of like when I went on Chopped and got voted out early. It's very stressful. And then you start to doubt yourself and like rethink everything. What did I do wrong? Was it overdone? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I just need to get myself a little better educated so I can go in and have a stronger finish.
Well, I mean, I think we can pinpoint two of your biggest errors. Is one, you feel like your way is right, and this is a competition, so you obviously are going to have to do it differently. So you have to get over that mental hurdle, number one. Totally. And then number two is obviously the whole temperature thing. If you can nail a medium rare steak, I mean, I would imagine all you have to do is carry it up another couple degrees, and then in the rest, you're going to land right in that medium section, and you won't overcook it. But you want to turn in a medium. You're imposing your will onto the judges, who have to judge against that picture matrix. And they're no matter how much you think you're right, you're going to be wrong. And that's leading to your frustration. So I think once you get over those hurdles, then at least you won't be as frustrated. You might be frustrated with the profile, or maybe you didn't finish high enough, but at least you're hitting the other two major things that are probably detracting from your success at the moment. Right.
And another thing I forgot to mention that I did that was like just bad, but it is what it was that my first steak, I was considering that my practice steak. And then my second one I wanted to turn in. But when I did my second steak, I was getting temperature readings all over the place. It was like 150, 115. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And then but then I'm like, I did, just like you would see Malcolm Reed do. I was like 2, thermopin, butter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was just all over the place. And I was like, I feel like this isn't reading correctly, or I'm going to burn the shit out of this steak. And then it still wasn't pulling the right internal temperature. So then I ended up, and I was trying to let it come up to temp, and I was worried that one was just too rare. So then I turned in my practice steak, and I think that's what hurt me, because that one had probably been sitting too long.
Right.
So it was just a cluster, but I had fun. My dad got into moonshine. He was like, oh my God, like my husband gave my dad the name Tropical Storm Eddie a long time ago when he got into too much vodka one night. And I have pictures from that night, and he's got he's like hanging his head in this like fake alligator like on the beach somewhere, you know, but there's like that point where someone's like funny drunk and then they might get close to that point of being like don't bring homeless people back into our tent kind of drunk, you know?
Yeah.
Like the line might have been fine there, but I mean, we had fun. It was a good time. I got to spend a lot of time with my dad and crack up and, you know, like you can't get that time back. So even if I didn't do that well, it was time well spent with my dad. And the Rum Runner barbecue team, we've gotten to be good friends with them and they're a lot of fun and just really nice people. So and I got to meet Rob Bagby for like the first time finally ever. And he's like such a nice, cool guy. Like we've been friends, like, but have never met in person. So.
Yeah, barbecue star, no doubt about it. And a very successful competition cook on the steak side as well. You can check out Robyn's blog at grillgirl.com. You can follow her on Instagram at grillgirlrobyn. 13,000 of you do. And, of course, you know, the pervs in the chat room are like, she said she was going to do bikini pics 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 segments ago. Yeah, you guys. I'll take your word for it, but I'm just talking for these weirdos.
Pictures on the paddle board. If you look at my stories, they're saved.
All right. Well, yeah. So
one is me with my dog in a bikini on my paddleboard in the mangroves, like in the back country in Florida.
Yeah, don't cater to these pervs, Robyn. I mean, give me a break. So at Grill Girl Robyn on Instagram, grillgirl.com, the website. Robyn, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Love you, Greg.
See you later. There's Robyn.